أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu and a very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Hasna and I will be moderating today's session. On behalf of YMJ, we're so happy to have you join us for this introductory session of our program. Today marks the beginning of an exciting journey for our students as you dive deeper into the teachings of Islam, develop strong leadership skills, and build character. To start this beautiful journey, I will recite a few verses from the Holy Quran to set the tone and remind us of our purpose here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. And now the translation: read in the name of your Lord who has created man from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not. So these verses beautifully set the stage for our mission at YMj Institute. They remind us of the importance of seeking knowledge and to engage with the world around us. The focus on reading and learning reflects our commitment to nurturing young minds, and Allah's generosity inspires us to build a supportive community where students lift each other up by creating this sense of togetherness. We empower you to advocate for justice and compassion, just like our beloved Prophet ﷺ did. In short, these verses remind us that the pursuit of knowledge, it's not just something we do alone. It's a shared journey that's grounded in faith and action. So I wanted to take a few moments to welcome all of you again. To the students, this journey is not just about learning, but about growth, about leadership, and preparing to be the best versions of yourselves, inshallah. For the parents, we are truly grateful that you've chosen to support your children on this path. Your involvement will be key in helping them succeed. So parents, there are a few important points I'd like to highlight to ensure your children have the best possible experience with us. The first thing is class timings. Please make sure your children attend the classes every Monday and Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we ask for punctuality and commitment to help stay consistent. The second thing is Google Classroom. All updates, assignments, and announcements will be posted on Google Classroom. We encourage you to check this regularly to stay in the loop. And the last thing is to engage with your child. After each class, ask your children what they learned. Being an active part of their learning journey will help reinforce their understanding and growth. So let's walk this path of learning together, inshallah. If you enrolled, you should have received a welcome letter with instructions on how to join the classes. This should be in your emails. Moving forward, students should join through webinar, and all that information is in the welcome letter. Please make sure you check your emails and find it, inshallah. And if you did not receive it after enrolling, please send an email. I will post the email address on my screen. It's ymj.institute@icna.org. Now, let me begin by briefly sharing what YMJ Institute is all about. The YMj Institute is a unique program designed to nurture Muslim middle school students through a holistic 3-year journey that focuses on character, on morals, and spirituality. Our vision is to inspire every student to develop a deep, devotional relationship with the Quran and to empower them with the knowledge and leadership skills necessary to serve as ethical leaders in their communities. Our program blends classical Islamic knowledge with contemporary issues, preparing students to navigate the challenges of today's world with confidence and faith. Our motto is simple yet powerful: believe, learn, and lead. We want to empower our youth to believe in themselves, to learn essential Islamic knowledge, and lead others with integrity. You know, middle school can be tough, whether it's physical or hormonal changes or challenges in schools or friendships. There's a lot that students go through. And that's why we're here. Through this program, you'll not only learn how to strengthen your connection with Islam, but also gain the confidence to overcome these challenges because we know that Islam is the solution. Living in the West, it comes with its own set of challenges, from dealing with societal pressures such as atheism. According to the YMj Institute, actually about 20% of Muslim youth are reported to leave the faith. And there's this increasing influence of movements like the LGBTQ, and so parents are rightly concerned. However, we believe that these challenges can be addressed through a strong foundation in faith, leadership, and Islamic values. And while many Islamic programs are available for high school and college students, there has been a gap in programs tailored for middle schoolers. And that's why the YMj Institute has worked hard to create a program specifically for you, for this age group, where we can grow in our faith, build character, and become confident in who we are as Muslims. Through our program, students will engage with the Quran, learn from the Seerah, the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and develop leadership skills, all while navigating their personal challenges with guidance rooted in Islam. So before we move on to our esteemed teachers, let's watch a short video that introduces the YMj Institute and highlights the important work that we are doing to build tomorrow's leaders.
Welcome to YMj Institute, an online Islamic learning platform for middle schoolers, designed to empower students with a strong foundation in Islamic knowledge. YMj Institute combines learning with engaging activities to make the process exciting. Our courses are tailored for young minds, and our experienced instructors ensure each lesson is interactive and impactful. We are currently offering 4 courses. Quranic Insight, a comprehensive study of the Quran focusing on key concepts and vocabulary to develop a deep relationship with the sacred text. Leadership Time Capsule. Students will explore leadership lessons from the Sira, Sahabas, and notable Muslim figures from history to develop their leadership skills. Matters of the Heart. This course emphasizes how to purify our hearts, develop sincerity, and understand the connection between beliefs, desires, and spiritual living Islam. The course teaches essential fiqh focusing on physical purification, worship ethics, and building positive relationships, encouraging students to embrace the diversity within Islamic traditions. Join YMJ Institute today and watch your child grow in knowledge and faith. Welcome to YMJ.
So, Alhamdulillah, just as the video mentioned, this is really a groundbreaking. And I know everyone is really busy with school, with other classes, and other extracurricular activities. So, really, the fact that you are taking your time out and chose to join the YMJ Institute is something that is huge. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept it from all of you, and that it be something that is fruitful for you all, inshallah. So again, to give you a better understanding of what the YMJ Institute offers, we have a 3-year program designed for middle schoolers that focuses on personal growth, Islamic learning, and leadership development. So there are 4 courses. Quranic Insights. This course is a deep study of the Quran, focuses on key concepts and vocabulary, and it helps students build a strong connection to the Quran. Then we have Living Islam, which is fiqh. This course teaches the basics of Islamic law, physical purification, worship ethics, positive relationships, while encouraging students to embrace the diversity within Islamic traditions. Then we have Matters of the Heart, which is Tazkiyah, and this course focuses on purifying the heart, developing sincerity, understanding how beliefs and desires shape our spiritual growth. And then we have the Leadership Time Capsule. Here, students will learn leadership lessons from the Sirah, the lives of the Sahaba, and other notable Muslim figures throughout history. And this will help them develop their leadership skills while following the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So our ultimate goal is to empower our youth to apply Islamic principles in their daily lives and decision making. And we hope to equip them with the tools they need to influence others positively while staying grounded in their Islamic values. Together, we'll help our youth grow into the leaders of tomorrow, inshallah. Now, I'm honored to introduce our first teacher, Ustada Fatima Mansouri. She is a graduate of the Qalam Seminary Alamiya program and holds a bachelor's in psychology from the University of Texas at Dallas. Ustada Fatima has taught Quran for over a decade and is deeply committed to nurturing Islamic knowledge in youth. She will be sharing her insights through our course, Quranic Insight. Let's warmly welcome her and give her our full attention, inshallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I will be teaching the Understanding the Quran or Quranic Insight portion of the class. So just to begin, sorry. Okay. So as we already looked at these ayahs earlier during our introduction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he starts off the very first verse or the very first word that was revealed to us was Iqra, right? So the first question that I want to ask is, why do we study the Quran and why is it important to study the Quran, right? So before, I'll just give a quick story. So the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions in a hadith that between him coming and between him and Isa alayhi salam, right, there was no prophets or books that were sent, right? So the Quran alluded to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ coming after Prophet Isa, right? Now the time between Prophet Isa and Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is almost like 6 centuries, which is like almost 600 years, right? So the time, so you have the 600-year time at that point, and then we also have from when the Prophet ﷺ came to now, which is 1400 years, right? Now, the difference between these two time periods is that during those 600 years, there was no book, there was no prophet. But the 1400 years from the prophet till now, we have the best living miracle, which is the Quran. Now, all the prophets that came before, they came with miracles, but once they departed this world, their miracles were also gone. But with the Prophet ﷺ, we have this Quran for the entire time, right? And this Quran is going to be with us from when the Prophet was there till the end of times. So, okay. So the very first word, so after the 600 years of no revelation, the very first word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke into this world was Iqra, right? Read. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to open our minds and open our hearts and read and educate ourselves. And he reiterates that in the first revelation twice, right? So we see it in ayah number 1, and then we also see it in ayah number 3 of Surah Alaq. And learning about the Quran and getting an education and an understanding of our religion is a necessity as a Muslim, and it's essential for every single one of us. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us in the Quran that أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا, right? So he's asking a question. Do they not then reflect on the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts, right? Now, here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more so saying, like, he's talking about the people, he's kind of asking, right? Like, are they not reflecting on the Quran? Like, they have access to the Quran. Are these people actually, like, learning about the Quran, or are they just, like, ignoring it? Are they actually, like, have they locked up their hearts and they're, completely closed off? So, obviously, this is a little bit more of, like, a scarier verse, right? But it's just there to remind us that we need to be people who reflect on the Quran and make sure that our hearts are not locked up, right? Now, this is a bit of a lengthier narration that the Prophet ﷺ also mentions. So this was one of the times when the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with his companions, and Abu ad-Darda, he narrates this. So he says that we were with the Prophet ﷺ when he raised his face to the sky, okay? And he said, this is the time when knowledge will be taken from the people until what remains of it shall not amount to anything. So one of the younger companions who was sitting there, named Ziyad bin Labid, he said, how will it be taken from us while we recite the Quran, right? So he's saying that we recite the Quran, like we've taught our kids to recite the Quran, and the Quran is going to continue to be passed on from one generation to the next generation. Just like today, all of you guys probably also learned to read the Quran. Your parents probably taught you to read the Quran, right? So he's kind of just asking the Prophet, I'm like, how is it just going to get lost? So the Prophet he looks at him and he tells him that, like, I really thought you were, like, smart. Like, how are you not? He's kind of like, responding to him, and he's saying that, I'm disappointed in you, right? Like, I used to consider you one of the smartest people in Medina, but you're not understanding the point that I'm saying here, right? Now, if we think back, the people who came before, right? Like the Christians and the Jews, they had the Torah and the Injil, right? But as we see today, they don't have the same connection to their book. Their book is not the same, their book has been changed, right? Unlike the Quran. So he says that the Torah and the Injil that were with the Jews, but it didn't really like benefit them, right? So then he says that, have you not heard what your then the Prophet he goes on to explain, right, that like they didn't, like the Jews and the Christians, they don't actually know what their book is saying. Like they don't actually know what it's saying. They don't know how to explain it. They've lost so much of it, right? And they didn't actually learn it. So the main point that we see here is that even though they had these books, they did not actually learn it, right? They just assumed what Allah would say. They would assume it incorrectly. They would put in their own words, and they would just like mess with the book, and they didn't actually learn it properly, right? So this is again reminding us that we need to learn and understand the Quran properly, right? And then this last part of the hadith also mentions another part, which usually is brought a bit later, and that he said that another thing that will end up happening, when time goes on, is that you'll enter a congregation, meaning, there's a lot of people in the masjid praying, right? And people will not have any khushu, right? So they'll have no concentration at all. Like there'll be nobody there who actually knows or understands what's being recited, right? So that's another like scary thing that we have to make sure that we don't end up being like that, right? Okay.
Ustad Fatima, I think we're not able to see your entire screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like zoomed in to one portion.
Oh, sorry, give me a second.
Sorry.
I think it might be because of the webinar thing. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll just, sorry, one second. Is that fine? Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so alhamdulillah, like all of you guys have probably been connected to the Quran in some way, right? But the main question I want to ask is how we actually understood the Quran, right? And just that, like, we have to be really careful to not be those people who fall into the group of people who don't understand the Quran, right? Like, it is our responsibility as Muslims to understand the Quran and teach the understanding of the Quran as well. Now, it's funny because someone might say that, oh, I don't have time for this, or, there's so much going on. I'm so busy with school and this and that, right? But I want you guys to also think about the fact that, like, we have so much knowledge about just like random things, right? Whether it be like video games or like sports or TV shows or books and stuff, right? And we may think that like that shows us that, we all have the capacity to remember, to understand, and to actually learn things, right? But it just depends on what you focus your energy on. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have knowledge about all these other things, right? But it's just showing you that you can't, like, your brain is like so miraculous and it has the space and the capacity to learn in. Now, two more things I just wanted to bring up were just two sayings. So one is from Qatada. So sorry. I'm not sure what's in it. Okay. So Qatada, one of the students of the companions, he used to say that you need to strengthen your hearts with the understanding of the Quran and strengthen your home with the values that the Quran teaches you. So that he was one of the students of the companions, right? And then we also have Abu Dawud radiallahu anhu again, who was saying that there are two things that everyone needs to learn. One of them is understanding the Sunnah, the life and the times of the Prophet ﷺ. And number two is to learn some Arabic because the Quran was revealed in Arabic. So you can directly interact with the Quran. So all of us, what we're learning from here is that all of us need to have a relationship with the Quran, right? And we can only do that on our own, right? Like you can't have, like when you're having a direct relationship, it has to be something you have to be putting in the effort, you have to be putting in the time, right? So in this class, inshallah, we're going to be doing that together. Okay. And then, mashallah, like you guys are really busy. Probably like middle school is like a very tough time, right? Like middle school is a time full of change. You guys have like school, you come home, you have homework, you may have extracurriculars, like you may be doing some sports. But it's really important. It's really amazing that you guys are getting together and still learning the Quran, right? And this is honestly going to change the trajectory of your life, right? Like at this like very critical point in your life where like you're going through so much change, like have making sure you have a strong relationship with the Quran is going to make all the difference, right? And I keep saying relationship with the Quran, but essentially that's meaning that you're gonna improve your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And whenever we go through difficulties in life, that's what we fall back on, right? We fall back on our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So through learning the translation of the Quran and through learning the stories and everything in the Quran, you're going to get like, you will be able to learn stories and lessons that you'll be able to relate to your day-to-day life, right? So you're going to go see like stories of people struggling and whatnot. And every single time a person reads the Quran is like speaking back directly to them. So inshallah, we'll be doing that together. And then now in another surah, the Prophet Allah said, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّي إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا, right? Now this is also a little bit of a warning, right? Where the Messenger said that, oh my Lord, my people have indeed received this Quran with neglect, right? So we do not want to be amongst these group of people who just like, ignored the Quran. We want to be amongst the people who learn from the Quran and apply it to our life. And then lastly, I just wanted to bring this narration, which talks about how people are like mines of gold and silver, right? So each and every one of you are like, are like a mine of gold and silver, right? Like a mine doesn't just have like one nugget of gold or one nugget of silver, right? But it's like a mine is something that's like full of gold and silver, right? So all of you guys, each and every one of you have potential, right? You have so much potential in you, but you just need to tap into it, right? So every single person has different strengths, has different talents, and in order to tap into that, you have to put in effort. So you guys are at an age where you kind of have to take it upon yourself to become a better version of yourself and to grow and learn and have a relationship with Allah. And inshallah, that will make all the difference. And that is all I have for today in terms of this. So just a little bit of an overview. Before we get into any of the surahs and stuff, we're gonna just, before every juz that we get into, we're gonna have like a juz overview. So we'll talk about the surahs that come in the juz. We're gonna talk about what their like main themes are. So like in juz number 1, we have Surah Fatiha, which like the main theme is like the call for guidance. And then Surah Baqarah, we're also gonna see all the stories there. So it's mainly like an address to the believers, and then it also speaks about hypocrites. And inshallah, we're going to kind of do this for every single juz. And I would really recommend y'all to just have like a little Quran journal. So whenever we talk about anything that like, impacts you or like it really speaks to you, just make sure to just like jot it down. And inshallah, we'll be having like quizzes and just like, more so like reflection assignments. And yeah, jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Ustadha. Sidra Afzal. Ustada Sidra has a rich academic background with a bachelor's in psychology, communication, and sociology, and a master's in developmental psychology from the International Islamic University of Malaysia. She is certified in various areas, including Islamic counseling and mental health. Ustada Sidra will be covering the Matters of the Heart and Living Islam courses. Let's give her a warm welcome and our full attention, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. It seems that there's an issue with my slides as well. Are you guys able to see my screen properly, or is it coming up zoomed in as well?
It's showing Zoom well.
Seems like there's an issue with webinar. Hey, let's try to fix it. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All right, so I hope you guys are all excited for this 3-year program. We have absolutely amazing subjects lined up. Inshallah, I will be teaching 2 subjects on Mondays. I will be teaching matters of the heart and living Islam. We'll go into a little bit more detail about what they're going to be like, inshallah. Are you guys able, are they able to post the questions? Okay, they are. Okay. So before we begin, I want you guys to get to know me. So you can ask me whatever questions you want, and then I will pick 3 questions. It could be something completely random. What's my favorite color? Do I like cats? Anything, and I'll answer that for you. And then we can move forward, inshallah. How old am I? That'll be something that I'll tell you at the end after our 3-year program. How about that? Where am I from? Currently, I am living in Pennsylvania. Okay, that was 1 question. You guys have 2 more. Do I have pets? No, but I am going to be adopting cats, inshallah. I did have 2 cats when I lived in Malaysia, but then we had to put them for adoption, and it was very, 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 very sad. But now that I'm here, hopefully, inshallah, I'll get a cat. If you have a cat already, let me know. Say yes if you have a cat. We'll see how many people are cat lovers. And if you do have a cat, tell me the name and how old your cat is. Oh, favorite color. Okay. Favorite color, I really, really, really love green. And do I do cahoots? I mean, it depends on you guys. If you like cahoots, we can definitely incorporate it. We want to make this kind of something that you guys will enjoy and learn practically from. So if you like cahoots, we can do cahoots. Have I done jet skiing before? Yes. What topic in Islam do I like the most? Actually, the topic that I'm going to be teaching you guys, I love that topic, especially the first one, matters of the heart. Have I been to Medina? Yes. I lived in Medina for a year. All right, we have a lot of people who have cats. Awesome. Do I like chickens? Yes, I also used to have chickens. Oh, nice, nice. You all also like green. Okay, that was definitely more than 3 questions. Wait, would you rather go to the mountains or the ocean? Definitely the ocean, especially after class, not right now. If you look at up the beaches of Malaysia, you've seen nothing more beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. Have I been to Mecca? Yes. How long have I been doing this? I have been teaching Islamic studies and Arabic for more than 10 years. All right. So, okay, I think that was definitely more than 3 questions. But let's get started, inshallah. All right, so matters of the heart. This is going to be an absolutely amazing subject, inshallah. And if you have heard of the word tazkiyah, say yes. And if you don't know, that's also completely okay. You're allowed to say no, so that's also okay too. Have I memorized? Okay, yes. Yes, yes. Okay, that's also okay if you don't know. That's what we're here for. We are here to learn. So if you know what tazkiyah means, why don't you help me out here? What does it mean? Or try to guess. Purification, yes. Good job, Yusuf. Good job. So purification. So in this subject, inshallah, we are going to be looking at, diseases of the heart. What are the things that, ail your soul, and how to become like Ustada Fatma had said as well, the best version of yourself. And that's something that we're really, really going to focus on, trying to become the best version of yourself. Because if you are here in this class, that means already you want to be a better version of yourself. You're already taking a step to not just be an average Muslim who prays 5 times a day. You want to do something more. You want to be something more. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward every single second that you're sitting in front of class. The notes that you're taking, the pencil that you're using will witness for you. And so it means that you want to be more. And that is incredibly beautiful. And that is something that we will talk about as well. What does it mean to be a student of knowledge? Because, being here, this already means you're, I don't want to say that you're better than other people, but it means you are on the right path, right? You are on the right path to becoming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to attaining Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la, because you are wanting to learn more about Islam. You're wanting to become a better Muslim. You're wanting to increase your love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So through tazkiyah, when you purify your soul, you are cleansing it of, perhaps the bad characteristics you may have picked up, or maybe some bad habits, or maybe you end up yelling at your sibling more than you were supposed to or you ever wanted to in your life. Or perhaps when your mom tells you to pray namaz, you kind of maybe you don't, or you say that you did but maybe you actually didn't. But you are here because you want to not do that anymore. Oopsie doodles. Okay. And it's okay if you feel like you have more bad habits than good habits, because we all start somewhere. And even if that means that you are starting with a small good habit, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves there's a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the actions, no matter how small they are, as long as they're consistent. So that's what we're going to try to do as well. We're going to try to be consistent in coming to class. We're going to try to be consistent in taking our notes. We're trying to have that same amount of motivation that we had in the beginning all the way through the end, inshallah. And we're not going to give up, and we're not going to let shaitan pull us down, because especially when you're purifying yourself, like, I can guarantee you that is when shaitan will attack you the hardest and the most, because he's not going to attack someone who's like not praying and they're just like chilling all the time. He's going to attack the person that is praying, that is reading Quran, that is trying to become a better Muslim. So know that when you are on this path, things may get tough, but that means you're on the right path. That means you are doing the right thing. So keep doing what you're doing, inshallah, and stay steadfast. All right. So with our program, especially with this subject, we will be covering it in the duration of our 3 years. Smaller. So for the first year and the second year, we both will for the both years, we are going to be doing purification of the heart, looking at the diseases of the heart and their cures. And what does it mean to have a qalbun salim? How can we have a qalbun salim? And then for the third year, inshallah, we are going to be going through the Arba'in Nabawi and Nawawi, and we are going to be looking at the hadith and trying to pull out practical implications for us. What does it mean to, have a pure intention, with the first hadith? We're going to really, really be focusing on how can we use those ahadith in our lives. Because sure, we can read it, but what does it mean to internalize it? What does it mean to actually, be practicing by utilizing those ahadith? And the books that we are going to be referring to are these two books, primarily Purification of the Heart as a reference book. You can also get Diseases of the Heart and Their Cures, but these are the books that we are going to be going through. So I would highly recommend you buy them so that you can, stay on top of the lessons and understand what we're doing. And, you can do your highlighting, your note taking or annotations, whatever in the book as well. But it will really, really benefit you to get these books. And if the parents, you guys are still there, definitely get these ASAP before our classes officially begin, inshallah, just so that every student has access to the material and the resources that is necessary for class, inshallah. So what is tazkiyah itself? Yes, it is purification, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that He has succeeded who purifies it, the soul, and He has failed it who buries it. So it is part of our life to continue on this path to purify ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the one who has the translation is like all like broken, but basically what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here is that he is the one who has given the people who had no knowledge, the people who had, you know, no understanding of what Islam is, messengers from amongst themselves, like, you know, how Prophet ﷺ was from the Quraysh, yatlu alayhim ayatihi, reciting to them his verses, aka the Quran, wa yuzakkihim wa yu'allimuhum. So yuzakki, to help them purify themselves, and to help them learn about what Islam is, al-kitab, the Quran, and the wisdom, when كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. And before this, of course, you know, everyone was in clear error. So on the path to avoid oneself from becoming, you know, in ضلال مبين, it's important that we, number one, attend the first class with Fatma, with the Ustad Fatma, learn the Quran and the lessons, basically embodying وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ, and then وَيُزَكِّيهِم, purifying yourself through the wisdom of the Quran. And then moving forward as well, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's mission for us as a ummah was to help, you know, guide us to that purification. And it reinforces the fact that achieving this purification, this purity, is a primary goal in Islam. And this requires a continuous effort to cleanse the soul, refine moral conduct, and enhance behavioral righteousness. So every day, like every single day, you want to try to make sure that you are practicing the things that we learn within class, not just on Mondays, not just on Fridays, but every single day. You are a Muslim every single day, right? Like with Christians, yes, they go to church on Sundays, but we are Muslims 24/7, of every hour of every day of the whole month, of the whole entire year. You know, there's a dua when we enter the bathroom, there's a dua when we exit the bathroom, there's a dua when we wear new clothes, there's a dua when we go to sleep. Islam is, it's a lifestyle, right? And it's all encompassing. And when it's all encompassing, we should never ever forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. He is watching us, and we constantly want to do what we can to please him. I used to tell my previous students like this phrase, which was purpose equals please Allah. And that's how we should live our life. That the purpose of our life is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we cleanse our souls, we purify our souls of any bad habits or any negative characteristics, then we are working towards pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? Because when we become stronger Muslims, when we become better, it's not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs our prayer. No, he doesn't need, you know, you to pray Fajr. He doesn't need that. We need that. And when we do that, we get closer to him. Then we try to do more actions to make him happy. And then that just brings us closer to Jannah. Like it all connects. It all connects. And then, so as we already covered, tazkiyah means to purify and cleanse. And if you already know like what zakat is, which hopefully you guys all probably do know, but it comes from the same word. And we know that zakat is meant to purify your money and possessions. It's not about, you know, just giving 2.5% of your wealth to the poor, but it also is a means to cleanse your money. That money was never meant for you. It was meant for the poor people. So it's cleansing your money and your possessions. And tazkiyah in Islamic terminology means the process of purifying your thoughts and actions from falsehood and deception, and building pure, correct actions and beautiful morals according to the Prophet. So it's a two-part thing, right? So it's removing, let's say, the ugly, okay? It's removing the ugly, removing the, you know, the ugly parts of ourselves, of our personality, and then building pure, you know, goodness within ourselves. And it's a constant process, right? And it may be like a roller coaster, up and down, but it's a lifelong roller coaster. And if that roller coaster, like you know, when the roller coaster ends, it's just like straight, like then you mean it's ended, like the ride is ended. And the only time when we are flatlined is when we're dead. Even our heartbeat goes up and down, right? So it's okay if your iman goes up and down, but when it goes too erratic, when it goes too high and it goes too low, what is that? Who knows what does it mean when your heartbeat goes too high or too low? Write in the chat. What does it mean? Heart attack. Yes, yes. Very good. It's a heart attack. And usually, what happens after a heart attack? It goes crazy up and down, up and down. And then what happens? What happens after? Yeah, there you go. Usually people, like, after super duper, like, erratic heartbeat, heart attack, unfortunately people pass away. And that's when you flatline, right? So it's okay if your iman goes up and down, but if it flatlines, then that means your heart is dead. And we do not want a dead heart. We are all alive, and we are all going to be working on the best versions of ourselves by purifying ourselves. So it's okay if you go up and down. Maybe some days, you're able to really practice what we learned in class. Or maybe one day, like, you're ransacked by jealousy because, someone else got, what you wanted, or your brother got, what you wanted. But it's about controlling your reaction, right? It's about control. It's about self-control. All right, so gauging learning, what is it going to be? What is it going to be like in class? So we are going to have different types of assessments. We're going to have like projects, short quizzes, nothing too heavy, but we want to make sure that you guys are learning practically. We want to make sure that you're actually learning the material, right? Like, I don't want you to just sit there, play Roblox. I want you to be able to follow along, inshallah. Every class will have a keyword that will be repeated multiple times and asked as an attendance point in Google Classroom. So you want to make sure that you're listening, and you want to make sure that you're paying attention as well, and definitely make sure that you are taking notes as well. All right, now we are going to be going to the next subject that I'll be covering, inshallah, which will be living Islam. We will be covering fiqh from the Hanafi perspective. If you are not Hanafi, then as a disclaimer, know that you can learn this as a sake of knowledge. If you parents practice a different method, that is okay. You can continue to follow that as well. But we will be doing this from the knowledge perspective. So for the first year, we will be doing fiqh of ibadat. Year 2, we will be doing fiqh of mu'amalat, dealing with people. And then year 3, we will be doing fiqh of contemporary issues. So things that things that come up on the day-to-day, we will be covering that, inshallah. And in terms of reference books and curriculum, these are the 2 books. So Quduri is it's a really, really high level book, but this is my reference book that I'll be using for you guys to have for yourselves. I would recommend Ascent to Felicity. And the person who wrote this also, they did a commentary on another Hanafi fiqh book as well, so it's a very good book. So definitely buy this ASAP. And then for Mukhtasar al-Quduri, I will link the PDF in the Google Classroom as well. So if we have any high achievers, you guys can definitely go through that as well and follow along, inshallah. But just to recap, make sure you buy Ascent to Felicity, and make sure that you buy Purification of the Heart and Diseases of the Heart and Their Cure, inshallah. And in terms of gauging learning for this class as well, it will be similar to Matters of the Heart. Well, you have project short quizzes, and you will also have reflection questions and study guide worksheets. So the study guide worksheets will help you, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, follow along or just reflect of the material that we have learned in class as well. And it will have the same thing where every class will have a keyword that will be repeated multiple times and asked as an attendance point in Google Classroom. So again, paying attention is very, very important. And perhaps you guys have the same question as you guys asked Ustadha Fatma, Ustadha, are you going to post the slides? No, I will not be posting the slides, because I want you guys to pay attention as much as you can in class. And you guys will be able to, if you want me to go back, I can definitely go back in the slides. I can slow down, but classes will be live. I want you to take notes. And hopefully, inshallah, the reflection questions and the study guide worksheets, they're not going to be every single time, but perhaps here and there I'll give them to you. just to make sure that you're able to, follow along, inshallah. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can definitely ask, and I will try my best to answer them, inshallah. Can you go to the page where you show what you're doing each year? Sure. This is the one for what we're doing each year for fiqh. And then if you want, I can go to the page of what we're doing each year for purification of the heart as well. Are you going to send recordings? That is for the administration to decide. Okay, and this is what we're going to be doing every year for tazkiyah. All right. Do we have any other questions? All right. I guess we can move forward then, inshallah. Can you mention the book titles? Yeah, so I'll mention the book titles and I'll put them in the Google Classroom as well. But here, hold on. This is for tazkiyah. And then, oh, hold on. I think I can put the here. I can put it here, actually. And if it'll be easy for you, I can also link where to buy them, just so it'll be easy for your parents as well. To do that. It's not giving me the option to answer, but yeah. All right, I guess we can move forward, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, everyone, for listening, and I'm super excited to have you guys all be part of these two subjects, inshallah, and I'm looking forward to an amazing journey from today all the way until the next 3 years.
Jazakallah khair, Ustada Sidra. Let's do a quick pulse check and see who is paying attention. So Ustada Sidra told us the meaning of tazkiyah. Who can tell me in the chat box or the question box below, what does tazkiyah mean? What does this? Good job. Purification. You guys are fast, mashallah. And she also mentioned that tazkiyah is 2 parts. So there was part 1 and there was part 2. Who can tell me what is part 1? What's the first part of tazkiyah? Let's see. Yes. Process of purifying cleansing. So removing the bad parts, the ugly parts. And what was part 2? Good. Removing. What was part 2? Building. Good. Building pure goodness within ourselves. Awesome, mashallah. It's so nice to see all of our active students. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts and instill sincerity in our intentions, enabling us to embody the teachings of Islam in our daily lives. Ameen. So finally, I'd like to introduce our third teacher, Ustada Afia Tariq, who will be leading the Leadership Time Capsule course. Originally from Dallas, Texas, Ustada Afia studied at Brighter Horizons Academy for her entire school life. During this time, she also attended the Islamic Quran Institute. After graduating, she studied biomedical engineering and computer science at UTD and went on to work as a software engineer in Raleigh, North Carolina. She is a YM alumni and has completed the first 2 years of Qalam Seminary. She loves archery, coffee, and being with family and friends. Let's welcome her with our full attention.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Please let me know if my screen is fully visible.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the Leadership Time Capsule. I'm your host, Afia Tariq.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Saram. I will be the co-host for this class.
So welcome, everyone. We've had a great introduction so far to our program. This part of the course, the Leadership Time Capsule, is going to be really our bread and butter of the course. We're going to take what we learn in Tazkiyah, we're going to take what we learn from Quran, we're going to take what we learn in this course, and we're going to see how we can find it in history, and we're going to see how we can apply what we see in history in our day-to-day lives. We're taking a new approach here to learning history. I'm sure everyone in this class has, read Sira or done some kind of history learning. But instead of doing dates of conquest and war strategies, we're going to be focusing on the most influential people of our history and what we can implement from their lives in today's world. We've got a lot going on in today's world, and I think we need more of a guidebook from the people that have come before us, that have been successful during bad times, during difficult times, and see what we can learn from them and how we can apply it in our day-to-day life. A little bit more about myself. My name is Afia. I am not someone who is a big reader, so I'm always trying to find, easier and more fun ways to learn. History hasn't always agreed with me, but I'm hoping that, through this class we can learn together. As we mentioned before, I love archery. I've recently gotten into running and, of course, coffee. And now I'll pass it over to my co-host, Saran, to introduce himself.
So, everyone, a little bit about myself. I am a history enthusiast. My background is actually in physics, but I spent many years since undergrad really just studying history, particularly Islamic history, over through various books. And, I feel like I've acquired a decent amount of knowledge. I'm not a historian per se, but, I hope in this course I can really present history in a really interesting and engaging way. I do spend my time reading, not all my time reading, I read a little bit, but I also do other things like gaming, hiking, and I love being outdoors.
Why don't you tell the audience what your favorite video game is right
now? Right now I really like the Assassin's Creed series. So it has been a recent one that's come out, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which by the way does take place in Baghdad, which is pretty fun and interesting to see how they, created that world. Yeah.
All right, nice. Thank you so much. We will talk to you again on our first day of classes.
Awesome.
So now to go over a little bit of background of why we are doing this class the way that we are. The Islamic history is divided into three main periods. If we start at 570 AD, that's around when the Prophet ﷺ was born, and this is the start of Islam. This is all the way until he passed away in 632. And so this part of Islamic history is the Prophet's life, right? So we've got from here to here, we've got the Prophet's life, the start of Islam. Of course, we know what that's called. It's called Sira. And then the next section that we've got is from 632, so when the Prophet ﷺ passes away, until basically the end of the Umayyad dynasty, which was the first big dynasty that was ruling the Muslim empire, which basically fell in 780 AD. So this is the time of the Khulafa, right? We've learned about the Khulafa. There were four of them. Then we had the Tabi'een. Those were the people who had interacted with the Sahaba. And then, of course, we had the Umayyad dynasty after that. That part of Islamic history is called classical. So we know that we had a lot of Islamic works come from there. We know that the Quran was compiled during that time. So this is called the classical part of Islamic history. And lastly, we start at 780 AD, which was the start of the Golden Age, and we go all the way to 2024. And so that's the third main period of Islamic history, which is called the medieval and modern. We're going to cover the Golden Age, the Ottomans, and current history. And so for this course, we're actually going to be going backwards in time. We're going to be starting from the Golden Age and the Ottomans all the way to current history. We're going to start here. And then in year 2, we're going to go back to classical. And then in year 3, we're going to cover the seerah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And there are quite a few reasons that we decided to start from the Golden Age. Number one is because this part of history has some of the most notable figures of our time, and we want to be able to go through all of those before getting burnt out. Number 2 is contributions. The Islamic figures that we're going to study have made some very notable contributions to art, mathematics, chemistry, and even military advancement. And I think we're trying to really focus on that because it reminds us of a better time. In times where Muslim strength is weak and morale is low, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world, it becomes very, very unmotivating. It becomes very, I don't want to say depressing, but it kind of becomes like you don't feel like you're part of something bigger that is good, right? And so when we're going through a time when Muslim strength is very weak and morale is low, studying a time when things were different is very important because it shows us what were Muslims capable of, right? What were Muslims capable of? What did they achieve? We went all the way, the Golden Age, when we're going to study, inshallah, on Wednesday, you'll see that, it was the most powerful empire in the medieval times. And all of that came about from these notable figures and the contributions that they made. And if Muslims could do that once, then they can definitely do that again. And we'll study what these figures did and how they did it to ensure that the Golden Age came upon the Empire of Islam. And lastly, the biggest reason I think that we're starting from the Golden Age is because it's kind of like new information. I feel like when we start studying history, we always start from, we start from Sirah and then we get to the Khulafa. But by the time we reach like Ali radiallahu anhu, we're kind of burnt out and we don't really go, proceed further than that most of the time. And so I wanted to start from the Golden Age so that we can not only see the positive part of Islamic history, but we can also kind of learn things that are new and things that we probably haven't even learned before. To give a little bit of outline of how each session is going to go, I want to ensure that the time that you spend with us in our little podcast class we have going on, we want to make sure that it is high in engagement and learning and very low in boredom. And so in each session, we will go through a brief history setup, right? So it's going to be about 15 minutes. We're going to be talking about what was going on at the time, how big was the Muslim empire, what were they doing, who was the Khalifa, who was the Caliph, what were, basically just setting up what was going on during that time. The second part of our session will be really honing in on our person of interest. We're calling it POI. This person of interest is someone who we've handpicked. Of course, there's so many influential people in our history, but we are trying to pick people who have leadership qualities that we can actually take home and implement and use in our day-to-day life, just like how Ustadha Sidra said before. This is not something that is just like you learn and you leave. This is something that's going to be really applicable, inshallah. And of course, the third part will be really focusing on their leadership strategies, what they had in them that made them great leaders, and what you can take home to be a great leader. Because when it comes down to it, the actions of one individual. Right now, I see that there are, for example, 50 attendees. If these 50 attendees can put in or can implement even a few of these leadership applications, it will make a huge difference. It will make a huge difference. Not only in your family will change, your community will change, and we will start changing everything. And there's only when you drop a domino, only one domino has to fall for the rest of them to follow. And so our goal for you from this podcast is that we want you to see yourself in these amazing people who came before us, and to take these skills and tools that they have mastered and use them to trailblaze our way back to the golden age. And we want you to be able to see yourself in all of these people. These people were just regular people like us. They were people who didn't want to study, but their parents made them study. There were people that didn't want to go to physical education classes, but their parents made them go to physical education classes. And they turned into people that really, really changed the course of Islam. So that is all for my introduction. Before I let you guys go, inshallah, I will be posting this PowerPoint to the Google Classroom, inshallah. We'll go over more on Wednesday what parts are what things and parts are going to be applied.
Jazakallah khair, Ustada Afia. Let's try to do another quick pulse check. So, Ustada Afia mentioned 3 main periods. And yes, Golden Age. That was the one that we are going to start off with, classical and Sira. Excellent job, you guys, mashallah. So again, Jazakallah khair, Ustada Afia, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and use us to serve His deen and be a positive influence in our communities. Ameen. So I've been seeing a lot of questions pop up in the chat box. So I'm gonna try to address them whatever I can, inshallah. But before I do, just a reminder, if you have enrolled, you should have received an email with a welcome letter that has instructions for joining the classes. So going forward, the students are required to join via webinar. All the necessary information is provided in that welcome letter. Please make sure that you check your emails and locate it. It may have gone to your spam folders, so double check there as well. And then moving forward, you can mark emails from ymj.institute@icna.org as safe. The email is on the screen. So before we wrap up today's session, I'll address some of those questions. A lot of them were related or repeating, so I'm going to try to address them collectively. So the first one was asking about which grades do we serve. Some of us are in high school, some of us are in middle school. So basically, YMj Institute serves middle school students, ideally 6th through 8th grade. However, applications from 5th graders and 9th graders will also be honored. And their applications need to be coupled with letters of recommendations from at least 2 community members who know the students well. And then once you're enrolled, the student will be able to complete all 3 years, irrespective of their grade level. So you're going to send that email to the email that you see on the screen. Another question was, how can I get the classroom code? So again, once you enroll, you'll receive that welcome letter in your email, and that'll have all the information that you need there. And if you have any issues with enrolling, you can also go ahead and email ymj.institute@icna.org. The days and the timings for the classes, and are students required to study outside of class? So our classes will be on Mondays and Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And students can plan to study at least 1 to 2 hours per week outside of the class to master the concepts that are taught in the curriculum. Are students required to buy any course materials or books? So students are not required to purchase any additional materials, but some of the teachers might tell you additional materials that'll be helpful or a good supplement to the course. So all the necessary resources for the class itself, like the handouts, the printables, they'll all be provided through Google Classroom. And then supplemental ebooks and notes will also be available to review on that Google Classroom platform. Some of you guys had questions about the management and the faculty and the teachers. So YMJ Institute is a project of Miknan YMJ, which is a division of ICNA Sisters. So the Miknan YMJ team will manage all the administrative aspects of this program, and our teachers are young, qualified graduates from distinguished institutions such as Medina University and Qalam Institute. And while their young age helps them to relate to the youth effectively, their guidance from their respective teachers helps them and equips them with the knowledge and skills to teach Islamic values and leadership to young Muslims in a wise and impactful manner. Are students required, how many semesters are there in the program, and what is the fee structure? And is financial aid available? So that there's a consistent questions on this. So the program consists of a total of 6 semesters, and there will be fall and winter semesters each academic year as well. The tuition fee is $150 per semester. And for those who need assistance, financial aid is available upon request. We believe that finances should never be an obstacle when learning Deen. So YMJ Institute does offer financial aid for qualifying students. The students just that are applying for it need to submit a 500 to 750 word essay explaining why they are interested in the program and how they're going to benefit their community through the knowledge and tools that they learn from this program. And they'll send that email to ymj.institute@icna.org. And then our team will be able to guide you and share promo codes. There is a sibling discount as well, and there's also an option of installment plans. So once you send that email, the team can give you the correct promo code to use depending on the case. Now the final question, and then we will end. Any other questions, you guys can again send an email to ymj.institute@icna.org. And any question that you have for the teachers, they will answer in regards to homework and all of that stuff as well. When it comes to recordings, yes, they will be posted on Google Classroom, inshallah. Can students skip a semester? So students are required to complete each semester consecutively to receive the diploma for the full program. If a student skips a semester, they will only receive a certificate for the semesters that they have completed. So during the summer, students will have the opportunity to participate in workshops and projects to enhance their knowledge and skills, inshallah. So with that, we are drawing to an end. Jazakumullahu khairan to our esteemed teachers and to all of you for joining us today. Before we close, I do want to remind you that YMJ Institute is more than just a program. It's a journey of growth, of connection, and empowerment. And our goal really is to equip each of you with the tools that you need to thrive in your faith and to lead with confidence in your communities. Through studying the Quran, through learning about Allah and Islam, through purifying ourselves, to learning from the leadership of our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the Sahabas and those that came after, you have the potential to make a lasting impact on the world around you. Now, my last question to you guys that you guys can post the answer to in the chat, who can tell me what is our purpose in life? What is our purpose in life? Yes, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Excellent. So our purpose in life is to please Allah. And we can please Allah by doing what He asks from us, right? When we want to please someone, we want to do things that that person likes. So just the same way, when we want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can do so by doing what He asks of us, by doing things that earn His pleasure. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al Imran, and hasten to the forgiveness from your Lord and a garden as wide as the heavens and earth prepared for the righteous. So Allah commands us not just to walk, but to hasten, to run towards His forgiveness and His reward. And that's a reminder for all of us not to delay or hesitate in the good work that we do in seeking forgiveness and increasing our knowledge. We are running towards Allah, toward His mercy, His forgiveness, and His eternal reward. As Sister Sidra mentioned earlier, you are wanting to become a better Muslim and you made the choice to join this institute. Really, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen you for this course and chosen you to spend your time getting closer to Allah and His deen. And it is a huge honor. In this day and age where we can be doing anything else, the fact that you have chosen to increase your knowledge and learn about how to apply it in your life is a huge, huge, huge deal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of you. Ameen. This is your time to grow into the leaders of tomorrow, guided by the values of Islam and the strength of your character. So, inshallah, we will end with dua. Ya Allah, we ask you to bless our journey ahead. Grant us knowledge that benefits, hearts that are pure, and actions that are righteous and accepted. Help us to grow into leaders who live by your guidance, uplift our communities, and serve humanity with